Good evening, everyone. It is Black and White with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest. And look who is on at the same time. Brian
I
Rundle
know.
and Lana Quest.
I'm on time.
What?
I know.
And you got your badass leather jacket on? What's
It's
going
a
on? Is that
dress.
a jacket
A
or
whole
what is that?
dress. It's a dress.
That's pretty badass.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, a dress. Yo, it's a dress.
I like it. Is
Thank you.
that just like is that you wore at work today?
Work clothes. I
All
told
right.
you I just came home, dropped my kid's friend off, went to the grocery store, and came here. And
Oh hell yeah, you're walking in like a boss.
that's right.
Boss lady. Well, I mean, we have a lot of things to get to. Lana and I, we had a little conversation yesterday, and as I've said before, when we're on the phone, it's basically like the show,
Right.
and we could just sit there probably forever and talk about everything that is going on. But I think the first thing we'll start off with tonight is over the weekend, what the news media was calling yet another assassination attempt on Donald Trump happened while he was at his golf course at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
And apparently some lunatic was hanging out by the golf course for about 12 hours from what I heard.
That's what they say.
And he had a AR or a AR-47 or whatever kind of gun. Listen, don't come at me because I don't know my guns. I don't really
They
care.
are.
Yeah, I know. I love that line that, because people, when they first said AR and people said it was automatic rifle and that's not what it stood for, and people laughed like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't be talking about children's heads getting blown off by these weapons because you don't even know what AR stands for, is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But that was a line that I heard many times. But
really?
Oh, you've never heard that?
No, I don't even. So what does
I'm
it stand
surprised
for?
with you being on Twitter. I mean, that
I
was
know I don't pay attention to a lot of those things, but
you
what is
probably
it?
shouldn't. No, that was the big argument that, you would talk about AR-15s and people would say, what does AR stand for? And a lot of people would just assume, and they answered the question, automatic rifle. And then you
Right.
got the ha, ha, ha. That's not what it stands for. You should not be
Oh,
talking about this. And then it led off the actual subject of children's heads getting blown off by these weapons because you didn't understand what AR stood for. So it's stupid, Lana. It's just,
so what
in
does
fact, this whole
it
show is about to be fucking stupid. But what were you going to say?
what does it stand for if it doesn't stand?
No, I don't fucking know. I still don't know because I don't care. It doesn't matter what it stands for.
Yeah, I
Whatever
just
it
call them
stands
assault
for,
weapons, right? Like I don't care what it's an assault weapon. That's just what I call.
that's exactly what it is. If somebody in the comments knows what it stands for and you want to educate us, that's fine. I'm happy to be educated on it, but it still doesn't sway my opinion of the weapon, whether or not I know what AR stands for or I don't. Lana,
Exactly. We know what it does.
right. So I think it is it's pretty universal here that nobody wants to see anybody shot and killed due to political violence, due to anything. I mean, it really, this is just something that we don't want to see. It is not something that I am rooting for. Democrats are rooting for. Lana and I had this conversation yesterday. She's not rooting for this. In fact, it was
for yourself.
What's that?
Speak for yourself.
You want to see it?
Oh, well, not with everyone.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, we don't want to see we don't want to see Donald Trump. I think it would be way more pleasurable to see Donald Trump being defeated handily at the polls rather than being shot and killed. But listen.
When it comes to Donald Trump, I just don't have any thoughts here nor there because he's that disgusting. He is that gross. I'm not going to sit here and do that thing that I heard people on TV do where they're like, thank God nothing happened, knowing that they fucking hate the guy. Like, I can't sit here and be like, I'm so happy nothing. I'm not, because he's literally saying things that can get children killed and he doesn't care. So why would I care one iota if something happens to that ghoulish animal? I don't care. I'm not going to say, unfortunately, no, fuck that man. Like, fuck that dude. Violence begets violence, right? Like, it's coming from his rhetoric. It's almost like, when they were mad at Malcolm X for saying the chickens come home to roost. That's what the fuck is happening right now. Me and DA, sorry, had this conversation just yesterday after you, and we were talking about how he can't control his own base. Look at when he said he got the vaccine and told people to wear masks to get the vaccine, and they booed him almost off the stage because he's messing with fire and he thinks that they would never harm him, and let him say something that is like not to the right or not radical enough, or see him backtrack, and they're going to get pissed and he can't control them, and that's what is happening. But I digress.
Listen, and you digress well, because listen, what you just said, there is certainly a modicum of truth to that. I mean, if Donald Trump were shot and killed, it's not like we're all going to do the thing where we go, well, let's remember the good things about Donald Trump. We're definitely not going to do that. I mean, it's just not going to do, because I actually thought about that too, Lana, and I thought about it in the sense that if we heard Vladimir Putin was shot and killed, would we go, oh, you know what, let's reflect back on, the good of Vladimir Putin? And yeah, I absolutely would compare a Donald Trump to a Vladimir Putin.
Yes.
So, I get what you're saying. And when I say I don't want to see anybody shot and killed, I say that in the respect of, because if it could happen to Donald Trump, it could happen to anybody. And then that way we're just kind of opening up the door to this wild, wild west of whoever the president is, shoot and kill him. Because here's the thing. And anybody listening to Lana and I saying what we're saying right now about Donald Trump, and if you're getting angry and pissed off, if you're going to sit here and try to convince me that if Barack Obama was shot and killed, that you would be like, oh my God, this is just a bridge too far for us. I heard a lot of you people when it came to Barack Obama. I heard a lot of people when it came to Joe Biden. And I hear a lot of you people when it comes to Kamala Harris. So if we're really speaking truth, I think there are a lot of people in this world that would celebrate, whether it be outwardly, and there's definitely people who would celebrate it outwardly or inwardly, that a political opponent got shot and killed. If you're trying to tell me that that is not something that, and maybe not celebrating is, some people definitely would celebrate. But would they be upset? Would they reflect? Would they, there would be a certain sort of reflection. Basically, what I was just talking about is this where we want to be as a country? But Lana's right. This is what Donald Trump has brought to the political atmosphere. This outrageous, and I'm glad you said this because it kind of leads me into what we're going to talk about on this particular subject, is this gaslighting by these assholes who are going to sit here and try to tell us that the reason why this is happening is because of the rhetoric from the left. Now, again, I brought this up before. You guys can do this gaslighting thing all you want to, but you're doing it to each other. You're not doing it to people like us. We're not fucking idiots. If you really think we're going to sit back and go, maybe we should tone down the rhetoric, what are you fucking out of your fucking minds? Have you heard Donald Trump, JD Vance? Have you? I mean, I can go on. First of all, I can list 100 people that talk this absolute nonsense, and they're going to say that we need to tone it down. Lana, I want to play a clip of JD Vance.
Shirt on.
Huh?
You have a Harris shirt on.
Yeah, my Harris Wall shirt on.
Yay, that's so cool. I want to
Yeah,
have
you're damn right.
Right.
So I'm into the spirit. I definitely am, because this isn't a thing, because people, you
Oh,
hear
keep
them
talking.
saying, Lana, huh?
No, I said keep talking.
I
I
was
was
gonna
looking.
say, you hear them saying is like, oh, the only reason why. There we go. See, we're in the spirit of things. I got my yard sign too, by the way. I ain't fucking scared. But what I was saying, do you have something to say? Because I want to play this clip of JD Vance
So
of,
just can I just clarify real quick?
yeah, 100%.
So when I talk about Donald Trump, that's just him as a person. I would feel not good if even Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Right.
George Bush, like any Mitt Romney, like that would make me feel like, wow, I would feel bad about that. So it's not a
Correct.
political thing with us. I'm sure you too. And with most people, it's not about like, Republicans wish they were dead. No, that's not. It's that monster that
Yeah.
we don't care about. So I just wanted to clarify.
It's the monster and what he has created
Yes,
beyond just him,
yes,
because he has got an army of people that are just horrific and
right.
awful, terrible, terrible people. And that's what I said. I mean, I personally would really love to see him get defeated badly in November, which I really truly think he's going to get beat worse than people think he's going to get beat. And when he does, what he's going to have to go through after that. Now, is it going to cause more strife and more craziness in this country? It definitely is. But it is one of those things that, it's kind of like avoiding going to a doctor for a major procedure. The quicker you get it done, the quicker this
Right,
ends.
right.
And, will it end forever? Who knows? But this is a good step. But anyway, talking about the rhetoric, and there's one too many JD Vance clips that I'm going to be playing on the show tonight that, I really rather not. But this is JD Vance at one of his rallies, and he's talking about what needs to happen from this point on.
Talk a little bit about public policy, but before I do that, I want to just address the elephant in the room here, which is, of course, just a couple of days ago, my running mate, my dear friend and our next president, was nearly assassinated again. 2 assassination attempts in as many months, and I think that it's time to say to the Democrats, to the media, to everybody that has been attacking this man and trying to censor this man for going on 10 years, cut it out or you're going to get somebody killed.
Yay, JD. Yeah, so that's going to be their line now. And especially, too, when it has come out that, first of all, the first one was a registered Republican and a Trump supporter. And then this guy, I mean, we're not going to sit here and try to pretend that he was some kind of left-wing nutbag, although I've heard people try to say that, because originally he was a Trump supporter. He was disenfranchised with Donald Trump. I guess he voted for Joe Biden in 2020, but now he was clamoring for a Vivek Ramaswamy
Right,
and
right,
Nikki Haley ticket
right,
just a few months ago, not that long ago. This guy's been all over the place, not to mention he has a gigantic criminal record, and he, from all accounts, has severe mental issues.
right.
So this is not some radical left-wing person that is
How is he
trying to
even
assassinate
voting?
Donald Trump.
How is he voting with this long record anyway?
I don't know that he is, to be honest with you. I
Oh, so
think,
they're just
maybe
looking at
he
his
voted.
registration. What?
Yeah, maybe he was able to in 16, but I don't know what happened subsequent to that. So, or maybe, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, Alana. I really don't know. But, the bottom line is that, again, this is their line, and it's going to work with the people in that crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But will it work beyond that? And I
Mm.
don't think it will.
No. How? It's
Um,
ridiculous. Like no one's stupid. We acting like we don't hear Trump. like MAGA are the only ones that act like they don't hear what he says when he makes fun of Paul Pelosi, like tweets out Nancy Pelosi in like crosshairs. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
executing General Milley, like wants to execute General Milley.
I have accused the American public of being politically lazy many times, and I still think that in some respects that they are. I don't think that they follow it as much as they should. However, when they do get involved and they do start to follow it, Donald Trump's been around for, I mean, just as a figure for 30 plus years. He's been around as a political figure for at least 9 years. And everything he has said and everything he has done in 9 years is not going to be erased out of the brains of the American people. Right. So anybody that thinks that within the next, by the way, 7 weeks from today, that if he thinks he's going to erase what he has done over 9 years in the next 7 weeks, I think he's going to have a difficult time resolving that.
Yeah, he is.
But Scott Jennings, by the way, ran into Ellie Mistel on CNN, and Scott Jennings also tried to gaslight the American people on CNN and let everybody know that it is the Democrats' fault and it is the rhetoric of the Democrats talking all this.
They can't even say anything other than saying they say he's a threat to democracy. It's like, that's literally a fact. That's not angry rhetoric. Like, who says that when they want to get someone hurt? Threat to democracy. Like, excuse me.
Again, and I think, Lana, the problem for them is that for years they have aligned themselves with a group of voters who not only are going to believe every word, but they're going to, I've used this term a million times. If you've ever seen The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch had flying monkeys that did her bidding for her. And, she was able to control their minds and everything that they did. And their flying monkeys are not going anywhere. But the problem is, I don't know how many more flying monkeys they're adding. In fact, they've lost some flying monkeys, and I don't know how much further they think they're going to go with it. But here's Scott Jennings, and then Ellie Mistel responds.
This kind of language about somebody be the underpinning of a campaign for years and intensely for the last several months. The only way to unwind it is for the people who've been saying it, chiefly the president and the vice president, to go on TV and say, you know what? We went too far, and what we said, honestly, is not true. The country will not end.
Okay, Scott, I think the Democrats will tamp down their language about Trump. The moment Trump tamps down his language about the Democrats, about immigrants, about people of color, about women, and not a moment before.
What about how many times are we going to shoot at him?
Is your argument literally that you
for the last several months?
Oh, sorry. How many times are they going to shoot at him? He says. Damn it, I messed that up. So, but anyway, you got the point.
I just wish that Ellie didn't say, Democrats will tamp down when Trump does.
Yeah.
No, don't say that. We're not tit for tat. This is not even. The Democrats have never used threatening language against Trump. Are we joking right now? Stop playing. They can't even show an example. When he said that, you should say, tell me what are they saying? Because we can right now be like that with Trump and the rest of them.
Yeah, in fact, Lana, I do want to go back to this clip because there's a couple things that they missed on here that I said. So I'm going to add this and I'm going to go.
For the people who've been saying it, chiefly the president and the vice president.
Of color, about women, and not a moment before.
What about how many times are we going to shoot at him?
Is your argument literally that you are not under threat unless somebody...
And you can hear that they tried to interrupt. When he says, how many times are they going to shoot at them? For them not to stop and go, hold on, what do you mean by they?
Right.
We know who the shooters were. What are you talking about?
Right.
directly takes a shot at you? Is that actually what you're saying? Do you have access to Secret Service files about how many threats Harris and Biden have received over the past year? How many threats Barack Obama, the first black president, received for 8 years while he was in the White House? Do you have those Secret Service files, or are you just out here talking because somebody was caught in the bushes on Saturday? If you want something done, if you want to get away from this violence and hatred, the clearest thing to do is to take away the weapons that these people are using to cause the violence and hatred.
Yeah, and I in Ellie's defense, Lana, I mean, when people keep saying something just so ridiculously outrageous, and sometimes it is hard to gather your thoughts instantly, and just say, you just go to your very first instinct on what you want to say, which, by the way, is kind of why I can't stand cable news anymore, because that's a lot of what they do. It's just instinctual instead of well thought out thoughts. I'm not saying you don't have well thought out thoughts, and Ellie Mistel has very well thought out thoughts on many occasions. But sometimes when you are hit with something that you just still at this point don't expect somebody to, you can't conjure in your mind that somebody still has the balls to say something as outrageous.
He should have known that one, because that's what they've been saying. That's exactly what they have been saying, the Democrats. And it's like, I would have turned on my heels and asked them, I can name 10 things off the top that Trump has said this week. You name 3 that Democrats have said. Yeah. Democrats are not doing that. Don't play the game. And that's the game that the media is playing. And a lot of these people are falling in and just falling for it. It's like, stop falling, because we're taking it away from Trump and making him the victim. And he's not the victim. He's literally the perpetrator. He's the criminal. He is the felon. He is the one that is causing 8 schools to be locked down in Springfield, Ohio, and 2 medical centers.
Yeah. I said it gets frustrating. I think their line now, though, Lana, is if you ask them to say 3 things, they would say, well, they're saying he wants to be a dictator on day one. In fact, I think there was one of the clips where that's his actual words. He actually said it.
Right. And let them say those things, because then people will scratch their heads like, excuse me?
Yeah.
That compared to General Milley should be executed. Excuse me, what?
Right.
It's like, what's the same?
Yeah, I mean, it's the gaslighting thing. Like I've said before, you're not gaslighting us. You guys think you are, but you're already gaslighting the people that are going to vote for you. So, but let's move on. But before we do, let us welcome Baby Juggernaut is with us again. I do appreciate you coming in. She says, I'm scared. And Jesse is with us. What's up, Jesse? How are you? Good to see you again. I appreciate you guys coming in and saying hello. But oh boy, Lana. So outside of the so-called assassination attempt that we saw on Sunday, prior to that, the big news was J.D. Vance again. He was on the morning show. And as we saw last week in the debate, that apparently dogs and cats are being eaten in the state of Ohio because the state of Ohio had over 20,000 Haitian immigrants that have invaded the state and are now eating the dogs and cats. Now, of course, every bit of what I just said was not true. First of all, it wasn't even 20,000. Second of all, they were legal immigrants. And third, the state of Ohio welcomed these Haitian immigrants and opened up jobs for them to come and work. And from all accounts, the jobs that have been opened and the Haitian immigrants that have come there to work have been praised, by the people that have hired them. But JD Vance was on with Dana Bash on CNN on Sunday morning, and his big thing was calling out, in fact, part of before the debate, if you remember, Lana, he tweeted out something in regards to these Haitian immigrants invading Ohio, but he had to fess up about a little bit of a tall tale, I guess you'd say, that he told.
For all, you again started this in part by saying that, at which Donald Trump repeated on the debate stage, that, and he didn't say anything about the policies that you're talking about. He just said Haitians are eating dogs and cats. Oh. Can you affirmatively say,
Lana, where are we in this country where this is that? First of all, the guy on the right, he's the vice presidential candidate of the United States. The woman on the left is an interviewer for a major cable news channel, and she just brought up that he retweeted out that people are eating dogs and cats. Nothing. Because there really is nothing to say.
No, just no. Right.
Yeah. All right. Let's
say now that is a rumor that has no basis with evidence.
Dana, the evidence is the firsthand account of my constituents who are telling me that this happened. And by the way, I've been trying to talk about the problems in Springfield for months, and the American media ignored it. There was a congressional hearing just last week of angel moms who lost children because Kamala Harris let criminal migrants into this country.
Not true.
Who then murdered their children. The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to, create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast. You had one interview with her. You talk about pushing back against me, Dana. You didn't push back against the fact that she cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said
that's not true.
That you're creating a story.
Public policy.
Sir, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
What's that?
You just said that this is a story that you created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not.
We are creating. Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to talk about this story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
First of all, you did create the 20,000 because that's just not the number. That's number one. And number two, you just had a vice presidential candidate, Lana, just admit that he created a story and then he did the old trope where he says, because you, the media, because he knows that gets the flying monkeys into, flying mode. And says, you, the media, are not covering what my constituents are calling me and telling me. What I wish Dana Bash would have asked him was, when you called the police, or when you called the mayor of the town, what did they tell you when this was happening? Because he didn't do that.
Right.
This is insulting. It really is insulting.
This is what y'all got, Ohio. Y'all voted for this idiot here. He's a liar. And I go back to a lot of things because he was conflating two things. He's trying to conflate. We had to create one story to talk about the kids in Springfield, Ohio being murdered, because he's talking about the little boy who was in the school bus that a Haitian legal immigrant hit the bus, and unfortunately it killed this kid. So unfortunately, there are car accidents every day that
Right.
people die in, and white, black, whatever are behind the wheel. It happens, but they use that to conflate with this story that he found from the Proud Boys, or they sent him. And then now it's like a full-on attack, because now they already know that some of the people in the town, the racist ones, were already mad with Haitians because of that accident that killed the little white boy. But the parents came out to say, stop talking about our fucking son. Because
and it was heartbreaking to watch that.
Yeah, saying, I wish it was a white man in his 60s. So it's like, because they're torn. They're torn because their son is dead, and they're also torn because they don't have hate in their heart. And that's what they see. And these fuckers, again, a senator, a vice presidential candidate, and a presidential candidate who want to be president of America. These immigrants are in America, and these people are putting their lives in jeopardy and the town of Springfield because the Proud Boys are trying to march on to Springfield. What the fuck? Like you said, like, where are we? Like, they gotta go.
They do have to go.
That's a threat. Oops, sorry. Like,
no, you're right. I
like,
mean, they gotta
gotta
go.
go.
And we all know Lana didn't say they need to be killed. They need to go. They definitely need to go, and we need to get rid of these fucking assholes, because I'm done with it. We talk about giving people the benefit of the doubt, but when you hear it over and over and over again from the same side, I'm about to play a couple clips, and I know Lana's got to go at about 8:45, and because I got some things I want to get to with the IVF thing today too, because I want to hear your opinion on that. But we talk about the benefit of the doubt. I want to play a couple of clips real quick. This is always seems to be coming from that side. Megyn Kelly had a gentleman on named Rich Lowry. He is the he runs the National Review, which is a far right magazine, and he was on with Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly was trying to defend JD Vance's comments here, and take a listen carefully to when Mr. Lowry talks, and hear if you can just listen.
Finally, he said something to the effect of, look, if we have to create stories in order to bring attention to what's happening, the media, he admits they made it up, right? As opposed to, and if you listen to the full clip, he says, by drawing attention to what's happening on the ground, it's just, as this line goes online, you don't hate the media enough. Go ahead.
You remember Alternative Facts with Kellyanne? They did the same thing. She wasn't saying you make up fictions and pretend they're facts. You bring other facts to bear in the debate that are being ignored. And that's what he was saying. And I think it was in that interview where Dana Bash says, the police have gone through 11 months of recordings of calls, and they've only found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian migrants taking geese from ponds. Only 2 calls. And I think one lesson of this whole story, people don't care about geese. People really hate geese. They all things considered, I think people would prefer Haitian migrants to come and take the geese off the golf course, right? So it's pets, it's the cats and dogs that's become the standard. Geese clearly don't matter.
I mean, I read online they're protected in Ohio, so you kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna stop it right after he slipped up there a little bit, but I wanted to make it clear too that Megyn Kelly just let it slip right on by.
Yeah, didn't even
Yeah. Now, of course, he has said that he obviously did not say that word.
What was he trying to say?
Apparently, he was trying to say he mixed up migrants and immigrants.
Haitian.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, of course, what he said. But again, we talk about the benefit of the doubt here, Lana. And, if this were somebody that you would never expect, or you're not used to after a while hearing language or you're hearing innuendo from these people, then, you do give them the benefit of the doubt. But, it's kind of hard now at this point, especially when you hitch your wagon to somebody who clearly has racist thoughts and racism within him. So it is difficult to give him the benefit of the doubt. Rana, what do you think?
Correct. What are you talking about? This guy or Trump?
Yeah, all, because I've got a couple more. John Kennedy today was talking to a lady named Maya Berry at a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. And by the way, this was a hearing on the rising of hate crimes. And she's a Muslim American, and badgered this woman. And just listen to what he says at the end. I mean, I don't know if you heard this yet, Lana, but just listen.
Support Hamas, don't you? You support UNRWA and Hamas, don't you?
I mean, first of all, this badgering, this over-the-top badgering of these witnesses is just, you know what this is? It's just so he can get on Sean Hannity later or one of these stupid fucking shows.
Sir,
please.
I think it's exceptionally disappointing that you're looking at an Arab American witness before you and saying you support Hamas.
You know what's disappointing to me?
I do not support Hamas.
Bring yourself
I do
to
not
say
support Hamas.
You don't
or
support UNRWA. You don't support Hamas. You don't.
I was very clear in my support for UNRWA.
Hezbollah, and you don't support Iran. You should hide your head in a bag.
Yikes.
Your time has expired.
I mean, again, the benefit of the doubt, Lana. I mean, what does he mean there? What exactly did John Kennedy mean?
Let me just tell you, it's out the bag, right? There was a time when these racists, it was a shame. Like you were ashamed of it. That's why the Klan wore hoods, and they didn't want no one to see their identity. But it was shameful. Trump has made it cool to hate again. It's in to hate. You're Trump's dude. If you out here saying this shit, you getting high fives in the back. They have made it real. And that's why Black, brown people, natives, Asians, all marginalized groups cannot fall for that okie doke of Donald Trump, because this is how it starts. It started with the Mexicans, now it's the Haitians, then it's going to be the Jamaicans, then it's going to be the Trinidadians, the Bajans, the Indians. It's going to go on and on and on. He's not going to stop with deporting Haitians. What the fuck we think this is? Savages. This is what he's a Christian nationalist. White nationalists, white supremacists, this is their thing. Natives were savages. So it gave them the excuse to go in and eradicate, the world of the natives because they were savages. That's what they're doing with the Haitians. They're making them out to be fucking savages, because who else would eat pets other than savages, fucking cannibals and shit? Like, that's what he's doing. That's how dangerous this is. This isn't like, haha, fun. Like, it's nothing funny here. Like, I see absolutely nothing funny. Massachusetts has like the highest number of Haitian immigrants living here. We just do. I have Haitian friends. This shit isn't funny. Racists don't know the difference between a fucking Haitian and a Jamaican, or a Haitian and Black. They don't know. They're just Black like us. And if we don't wrap our arms around these Haitians and fucking call out this hate and register your ass to vote, because this is National Registration Day, get this shit in order, because this is nothing compared to what's going to happen. Like, nothing.
Lana, you know what else is offensive about this whole thing is that basically the implication is that in Haiti, that this is going on left and right, that you see people eating pets. And now that they have escaped Haiti, they've come over to the United States and they're doing it here. That is that's the picture that they want these people to picture in their mind, because we have a lot of people in this country that when you don't know other people, you just assume. So, you're going to assume that this happens all the time in Haiti. It doesn't. Haiti people are not eating each other's neighbors.
And I don't know what the fuck they do in Haiti. I don't live in Haiti. We know what the fuck they're doing in Springfield, Ohio. Fucking working. They're working. They have money. They have jobs. They have homes. Their kids are in school. They don't have to fucking eat pets. They're not dying of starvation in Springfield, Ohio. Right. Stop playing. So it doesn't matter. And even if they were fucking doing whatever the fuck, who the fuck cares, Donald Trump? People are dying. Women are dying. Children are dying in schools. And this is what we're talking about, fucking dogs and cats. Like, it's just, I've been furious this whole week and hiding it. I can't even, like, I'm just getting hot.
Yeah, no, and then I really, first of all, I was going to apologize to you for the next clip because, the next clip is so outrageously offensive. And I bring this up because this is Laura Loomer, who is traveling with Donald Trump. Now, maybe, I don't know, she's not allowed on the plane. I heard all kinds of crazy shit going on, but there's absolutely no question Laura Loomer is very close to Donald Trump. Very close. Wow. And this is what she had to say on her podcast. And again, I apologize to Lana for this because this is just listening to it is offensive for me. And I can't imagine what, but anyway.
Pen black woman, I don't need no man, and I'm gonna get Whitey. And I'm gonna lock Donald Trump up, just like Letitia James, right? And she goes, now you're gonna elect me, and I'm gonna lock him up. We're gonna get Trump. Like the way they talk and their little DEI Shaniqua voices. And they all have the same voice. I'm talking about Kamala Harris, Letitia James, and Fannie Willis. Like meritless DEI Shaniquas talk the same way. It's very obnoxious the way that they talk.
If you don't get your motherfucking botch nose job right now, she'll bigger than the other.
So I didn't know that part, but
no, that's hilarious because you had that clip down there, and I'm going, what the fuck? I thought that was that. Remember that doll from the Muppets or one of those things with the lips that were so humongous and it would have like the little, you know what I'm talking about? What show was that? Like that fucking
That's the Muppets.
Yeah, this is like White and Rich or something. And she like that's what Laura Loomer looks like. Laura Loomer is out here appropriating black lips and talking about black people while she's literally getting lip injections, fillers, cheekbones, and coloring her skin, anything to look more dark. Like, go figure that out, Laura.
Yeah, Laura. Laura Loomer is a very, the thing about it is she's got a loud mouth and people will listen to her, but she's a very sad, pathetic human being. She is somebody desperate for attention. Anything, I think I've read that, and I don't know this to be 100% true, but I'm pretty sure just by listening to her that her dad had to put her in some sort of, I'm not sure if it's necessarily a mental home, but she had a lot of issues with her as her growing up, as you could tell, but she's just somebody who's desperate for attention. But anyway, our future president, Kamala Harris, was with the National Association of Black Journalists today, and she had a response about the Haitian immigrants, but it just went beyond that, and it's just she's exactly right in her words. So let's listen to this. And, this is a good way to end the segment of these fucking assholes.
The American people deserve, and I do believe want better than this. I do believe that. I know the vast majority of us as Americans know we have so much more in common than what separates us. I know that. I know that regardless of someone's background, their race, their gender, their geographic location, I know that people are deeply troubled by what is happening to that community in Springfield, Ohio. And it's got to stop. And we've got to say that you cannot be entrusted with standing behind the seal of the President of the United States of America engaging in that hateful rhetoric that, as usual, is designed to divide us as a country, is designed to have people pointing fingers at each other. It's designed to do that. And I think most people in our country, regardless of their race, are starting to see through this nonsense and to say, you know what, let's turn the page on this. This is exhausting and it's harmful and it's hateful and grounded in some age-old stuff that we should not have the tolerance for. So let's turn the page and chart a new way forward and say, you can't have that microphone again.
Exhausting, harmful, and hateful is exactly what is really, at the end of the day, going to win her the election and going to lose that clown the election, because people, they just are. We're exhausted by this shit.
Oh my God. Oh. Just won't stop. They don't stop. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
But you know what, Lana? You know, we play these clips and it is upsetting to watch, and it sucks that people are, you know, just go out there and say these awful things. But at the end of the day, I mean, they're being exposed daily, every single day, every single minute. They're being exposed more and more and more.
Right.
And I just, unless something unbelievably incredible happens, I mean, yes, if somebody said, you don't think Donald Trump can't win, I would never say no. He obviously win.
Right.
But at this point, I mean, I really do believe that it's coming to an end. I do.
I feel it too. There's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about like Alaska. There's rumbling in Alaska. Not that we don't expect Alaska to turn Democratic, but her even moving needle in Alaska is pretty insane. In Iowa. Yeah, that's, you know,
Florida. If anybody thinks, I'm just telling you, there's a guy named Christopher Boozy on Twitter. And he has been predicting elections. He has this model, and you know, he was trying to tell everybody when they were saying this big red wave in 2022 that it's not happening. He was guaranteeing Biden was going to win. He is not only guessing that Kamala Harris is going to win Florida, he's guaranteeing it. He's guaranteeing Kamala Harris is going to win Florida. Now, I hope he's right, because if she wins Florida, then we could go to bed early. Although we probably will be celebrating all night.
If she wins Florida, like that would be insane. If she wins Florida, North Carolina is guaranteed.
Yeah. There's no question. I mean, first of all, if she wins Florida, the election's guaranteed. I mean, she can't lose. If Donald Trump can't win without winning Florida, he just can't. It's just impossible.
I don't know what that ground game is in Florida. Like, I don't know if they're going full throttle in Florida as they're going in. You know,
they opened up a lot of offices here, and you got to remember too. We talked about this before. There's 2 ballot measures in the state of Florida, the marijuana and the abortion.
Absolutely.
And that's going to bring out a lot of different voters who otherwise would not have come out.
That is true, because they had over 1 million signatures on that abortion ballot measure. And DeSantis was pissed off about that and sending his state police to go door to door on the people who signed the petition. Like, was he going to go to 1 million doors? I was like, yeah, that's why they got 1 million signatures, right? They probably only needed like 10,000. They got 1 million because they knew that they needed to be over the top with it. So if you throw out 10,000, we still got enough signatures to get this on the ballot.
Well, the threshold is 60% too to win that measure. So with it being 60%, they know a lot of people. The people in Florida know we have to show up in order to pass it at 60%. So, so, you know, again, don't sleep on Florida. So, Lana, I know you said you had to go. If you have to go, you have to go, because I can skip this part.
IVF one.
Yeah.
I know I was kind of waiting. Is that next or no? What do you got
That's next. So if you want to say, okay. All right. So anyway, there was a vote today on rights for IVF. Here's what happened.
On this vote, the yeas are 51, the nays are 44. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion upon reconsideration is not agreed to.
So that happened today, and Lana she mentioned to me yesterday, it was the first time I actually heard it, but then I read about it a little bit more today, and Kamala Harris had some comments about what happened in Georgia. Lana, you're more well-versed in that. Would you like to explain and give us your thoughts?
Sure. Which is kind of separate from the IVF
yes.
vote today, but
it's separate, but sort of in the same ballpark.
In the same ballpark, right? It's like, the impacts of abortion bans. And when women were saying, or people were saying, women are going to die, it wasn't being hyperbolic. Like, this is women are dying, right? And so now they have the maternal mortality tracking organization or something who are investigating maternal deaths now in Georgia, and they've found 2 cases that, and there's probably more, but they've just started, that have been deemed preventable had they been able to get abortion care. The first case was Amber Thurman. I think she passed away back in August. She was a single mom. Her son was 6 years old. She took the abortion pill because she was pregnant. I think she traveled to another state to get the abortion pill, traveled back to Georgia, ended up not feeling good, was sick, went into the hospital. So when you take the abortion pill, like, it just passes. It's almost like a miscarriage. Everything just passes through you. Everything didn't pass. There was still tissue or whatever inside. That's all I can inside. So she went to the hospital. Normal, everyday procedure. Doctors do it all the time. DNC all the time. They just go in, scrape out the rest of it, and you're on your way. Simple procedure all the time. Just all the time it happens. However, when the abortion ban took effect, DNCs are considered abortion, because remember, these pieces of cells you got floating around in there, they are saying that those are people. So if you touch the people, although they can't live outside of the body, so that means they're what? Like this girl said, I don't know if you saw the video, parasite. It's a parasite. It can't live outside. It can't live without a host. These cells, they would not treat her. They would not scrape these cells. She had to get to the point where mother's life is in danger. Again, Idaho went to the Supreme Court because who the fuck knows what the life of a mother in danger is? What does that look like? 1 organ failing, 2 organ failing, blood pressure dropping. What the fuck does that look like? Nobody knows, nor did the people in Georgia, because she was there for 20 hours while the infection, because again, it's another thing that happens, because now you have these alien cells inside of you that should not be there, because there is no pregnancy. The infection starts to spread through her body. They're still waiting because it has to be imminent danger. Her blood pressure's dropping, still fucking waiting. She's in a hospital bed and she's going, I hope I don't die. I have a 6-year-old son. Literally saying these things. She dies. Like, by the time they finally got to do the surgery, she dies. Second woman, I think she had a non-viable fetus. She passed because they made her carry it. It's fucking that you can't carry something that's like what the fuck you're making. It's more than cruel. It's like women are dying like horrible and painful and cruel deaths. That's painful. Your body is being taken over by infection. And Vance was in Georgia celebrating what Trump did. Trump said, "This is what we wanted." Tell that to Amber's son.
Yeah, I mean, Lana, and you say tell that to Amber's son, and you just gave obviously a very, passionate viewpoint of being a woman, and who had children before. I've said this before too. Being a man, and if you have that woman in your life, if that's your wife, if that's your daughter, that's in the hospital, let's say, I'm the husband and my wife just had the baby and needs that very simple procedure. And I say, okay, I'm just going to run to the bathroom. I'll be back. And next thing you know, I come back and she's fucking dead because they won't do this. What you said is a very routine and simple procedure. Should not only just offend women. This should be offending everybody in the country. This could affect your wife, your daughter, your mom, your niece, your friends' wives, your friends' daughters, your friend.
There's so many cases, Brian. Like, it's just the scenarios are endless, and it's like they didn't think it out because they didn't care. Like, that's just one scenario. Then you have the scenario of, a fetus just dying, right? Like, there's nothing. The fetus, no heartbeat, nothing. Still can't touch it. You have to miscarry it. Like, it has to run through you. So you have to continue to walk around with a dead thing inside of you while people are like, hey, when are you due? Like, how traumatic is that? What if you have kids at home? Mommy, when's the baby coming? What? How traumatic is that? I told you about the cancer patients in Republican states who have to stop chemo because the chemotherapy will kill the embryo. So instead of letting them get rid of the embryo, you have to stop your chemotherapy.
Yeah, this is let's say it's rough stuff to just talk about and listen to, but imagine the ones that it's actually happening to.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking nightmare. It's out of control. It's a nightmare. Lana, they had the ruling today on blocking IVF, and it does suck. But boy, the timing for them probably isn't the greatest because you're doing it 7 weeks before an election. We say this before, but this by far, it's not even close, the most consequential election of our lifetimes. This is one that it is a make or break for the United States of America. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being over dramatic. This is make or break for this country because it is going to be difficult to think that if Donald Trump can win the presidency, that he can't win the House and he can't win the Senate as well. Because if they're voting top ticket, they're voting right below it too.
Yeah.
And if you get the House, the Senate, and the presidency, wave goodbye. I mean, just really wave goodbye. And I got news for you. The ones who think that that's going to be awesome, I promise you at some point you are going to regret your decision. I promise you that's going to happen.
Yeah. Unions. Gone.
Unions.
Yeah, unions are done. Regulations, done. You'd be lucky if we get clean water. That shit's done. Federal employees, bye-bye.
The economy.
Yeah. Because they're going to give so, and then Trump has that new crypto business that he's going to deregulate all the whatever the FCC or whatever the hell deals with friggin' money shit. Man,
the funny thing is that I want to just for all the crypto owners out there that Donald Trump knows nothing, like literally nothing about crypto. So if you think he's going to do something for you, I promise you he's not. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's saying. He's just regurgitating pieces of what he hears people telling him. And he just goes out and says it, just like he did at that economy club in New York. I mean, the answers he was giving about the economy, and then people at the end of it clapping at it because he just said, "Make America great again." And people are like, "Yay." And it's just like, but secretly they're like, "Oh, what is he saying?"
He's just, that's why he was golfing with that dude, Steve Whitker or whatever, Whitcall or whatever the hell his name, the guy who was stole money from the immigrant fund or some shit. That guy.
Steve Bannon?
No,
no.
The guy he was golfing with. That guy that he was golfing with.
I didn't even see it.
Okay, so the guy he was golfing with at his club before the guy tried to.
Oh, this was on Sunday?
Yes.
As I said, and I'll let you finish, but real quick. I mean, NFL Sunday, nobody's paying attention.
I know, but this is crazy because that guy Steve Whitcall or whatever his name is had a whole bunch of failed businesses, but he also stole a lot of money from some type of immigration fund, like helping immigrants get whatever visa this or visa that. I don't know. You have to look it up. It's very complicated and complex. But he stole millions of dollars from immigrants. This guy that he's playing golf with. But his latest thing is crypto stuff. So that's why Trump is golfing with this guy, because this guy is going to be his new partner. But it's interesting that this guy stole all this money from immigrants, and now Trump is denigrating Haitian immigrant. Like, it's just so weird and connected, all of it.
Yeah, there's too much weirdness. There's too much connected. And you talk about Donald Trump wins. You know who his press secretary is going to be? Laura Loomer. Yeah. Could you fucking imagine her answering questions for? If I'm a journalist, a real journalist, I don't even fucking show up.
Disgusting.
I wouldn't even go. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't even go. Let Fox and Newsmax and let them do it every fucking day.
Right.
Who gives a fuck?
Right.
And then the rest of the channels don't even cover it. But all right,
I'm gonna run.
All right. Lana's going to go.
Bye,
and
everyone.
I'm just got a couple more things I'll go over. But Lana, thank you for your insight tonight. We always appreciate it. And Lana will be on your show Thursday. Are you going to be Thursday?
I don't know.
Check it out. Good show. And I'll mention it again before I go. But thank you, Lana. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, everyone. Bye, baby Juggernaut. Jesse. Bye, Jesse.
Yep. Okay.
Bye.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye. All right, so let's finish up the show. I'll go back to some of the comments here that I had missed while we were talking. I apologize for that. We get talking sometimes, and Jesse says the world's getting real crazy, brother. And you're not kidding. I definitely agree. Whether any of this afternoon or not, the assassination, the immigrant problems, or people eating pets or not, the fact any of it in the news is kind of crazy. Well, it's in the news only because they're making it news, even though it's not news. It is the epitome. It is actual fake news is what they're making up. JD Vance even admitted to as much, that it was fake news. He's making it up because if they're not going to report my fake news, then I'm going to make something up. So they're going to pay attention to stuff that still isn't happening, which is just outrageous. It's an outrageous thing to say. And, Jesse, I know you've been on my comments, and from my understanding, you're on the opposite side of me, but at some point, I think the people that are looking at the Trump Vance ticket, that you might want to stop back for just a second and go, are they actually telling me the truth? Let's say you don't like Kamala Harris. That's fine. I'm not trying to get you to necessarily like her, even though I think she's going to do great. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think about Kamala Harris. What I'm trying to say is that at some point, you have to look and go, is everything that this guy keeps trying to tell me and promise me, and everything that they're trying to get me to believe, is this really true? Did he really build the wall? Mexico was going to pay for it? No. Was he going to end Obamacare? No. Did he have a better health care plan that he was going to reveal in 2 weeks? No. I could go on the list over and over and over. And at some point, you got to go, I don't know, maybe this is not the guy I should be voting for. If you're a true Republican, then you definitely don't want this ticket to win. You really don't. If you really, really, truly are a Republican, this is not the ticket for you. Whether any of this is happening or not, the fact any of it is being reported. Okay, I read that. Baby Juggernaut says Loomer eating actual dog food on YouTube. I saw that. I think, I don't know, Baby Juggernaut, I might be mistaken, but was she suckered into doing that? Because I know it was sort of like an ad on her show, and I think the people who posted that told her humans could eat it and asked her to eat it on the show. There might be something to do that. I don't know, but I don't say it as truth, but I think I heard something like that. I don't know if it's true or not. And then North Carolina, you're right. That's another one. I think she's going to win North Carolina just based on everything that, again, it's the momentum that she's carrying with everything. Pennsylvania too. If everybody saw the poll that came out the other day, USA Today, I believe it was, or maybe I just read it in USA Today, that she has a 4-point lead in Pennsylvania. But the big thing is that she had a 4 and a 5-point lead in 2 different counties in Pennsylvania, that Joe Biden only won by 1 point in both of those counties. So if she has opened up a big lead in these 2 big counties, Erie was one, and I can't remember the other one, but these 2 big counties, is that she's leading more than what Joe Biden won them by in 2020. And if Joe Biden already won Pennsylvania with a slim margin in those counties, then I feel even better that Kamala Harris will win Pennsylvania. Because again, this is another one of those states. She wins Pennsylvania, that's pretty much the ball game. She wins North Carolina, that's pretty much the ball game. She wins Florida, that's absolutely the ball game. It's over if she wins Florida. There's absolutely no way Donald Trump could win if Kamala Harris wins Florida. And anybody that's watching this who thinks that she has no chance to win Florida, you are, I think you're kidding yourself, because she absolutely has a chance to win Florida. And we're going to see that play out on November 5th. And the more every day goes by, and the more this side continues to say illegal migrants are coming into Ohio, even though the residents of that particular city, in fact, the lady who made up the original meme or the original story about the cat being eaten, she came out and said, that's not true. I made a terrible mistake. I feel terrible. I feel awful. She even came out, but will JD Vance go, oh shit, we were duped. That wasn't true. We apologize. No, they're going to double down on this ridiculous story. And again, that should question whether or not you should vote for these kind of people. Just that alone, you should just question if they're going to double down on lies, even though it's already proven to not be true. Why would you consider to hitch your wagon to this nonsense and to this clown show? You really should have more respect for yourself, because they have no respect for you, none. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Part of the voting bloc on the right has become the religious voting bloc. And this really started back in the 80s during the Reagan administration, when they found out that they could get a large voting bloc of people if they started to make their platform more religious. Because the religious groups before Ronald Reagan, they weren't like overtly political. They weren't like, we're voting for Republicans only. They would vote based on, middle class stuff. They would base, on policy, all that kind of stuff. But when Reagan came along, him and his administration figured out a way to get more voters. And that was to say, hey, let's start becoming a very religious party and get what at the time was a pretty good majority of people who were in the country that were religious. If you look now, the majority of the country is non-religious. So there are less people now that are practicing religion. There are less people going to church than there were back then. But the MAGA movement and the far right movement now have a lot of their eggs in that religious basket. And there's still, don't get me wrong, a lot of religious people in this country. So they are playing into the psyche of these religious people. And now the play is that we are dying and we have got to fight to keep religion alive in this country. Now, mind you, somebody like me who considers himself an atheist is not somebody that hates religious people. I don't want religious people to say, I'm not religious anymore. If you feel like that is a good route for you in your life and it makes you feel better and it makes you a better person, I'm all for your religion. And I would venture to guess that a lot of people in this country who are not religious are not anti-religion. They're just not religious. So what they're doing, though, is they're turning this into a war. It's a war against people like me. It's a war against people who do not go to church and do not practice these religious thoughts and supposed values, even though a lot of the people that I hear and I see, like, I'll look on Twitter and I'll see in their bio Christian dad or ultra Christian and loves Jesus, but they are spewing some of the worst and most hateful things that I have ever seen. But they have told these people that this is it. This is our final battle. And if you do not battle to the death in some respects, that this is going to all be over for you. Kamala Harris is going to take over this country, and now you are going to be subjected to her rules and her laws, and you are no longer going to be able to practice your religion. That's so absurdly ridiculous that there's absolutely no truth to it. You know, they've been saying that about Biden. Biden's as religious as any other president I've ever seen. He's extremely Catholic. He actually goes to church. But they still sell it. They say it about Biden. They have sold a lot of the American people that Joe Biden is a devil and that he is not a religious person. But, you know, we talk about these religious people. This is a pastor named Robert Henderson in one of these super ultra mega churches. I don't know the name of it. I really don't care. But this is the kind of rhetoric that you are hearing in some of these churches, not all, but some of these churches that, again, if it's just in 1, 2, 3, or 100, this is dangerous and crazy stuff.
I say, even as you told me to say in 2015 against Hillary Clinton, I now declare against Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Yes.
This is a war against non-religious people. Well, shouldn't even say non-religious. I don't know that Kamala Harris is religious or non-religious. I think she is. I really don't know. But again, this has nothing to do as to whether or not she's religious or not, because again, we already pointed out with Joe Biden, they didn't give a shit that he was religious. They are making Democrats, fellow Americans in this country, not just somebody that they disagree with, but the enemy.
That according to James 1:11, that her campaign is as grass, and that she is even as the flower of the grass, and that the burning, searing, exposing heat of God now causes her campaign and her herself to wither away, and to become as nothing, that there would be exposure from the radiance of who you are, and it would cause, Lord, her campaign to vanish.
All right, he gets into obviously some crazy shit. I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about, but I can guarantee you, not good for Kamala Harris. He does not like her. He does not want her to be the president and wants her to vanish or whatever the fuck it is that he wants her to do. But again, this is crazy, insane rhetoric. And when you get crazy, insane rhetoric like that, what you get is you get crazy, insane voters. And here are a couple of voters that are convinced that there's an evil force around the Democrats and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
I think there's an evil force taking over our country, our world. It's written in the Bible that in the last days this is supposed to happen. So we have to armor ourselves with the armor of Christ, I want to say, and be prepared. We can't do this without Jesus. And this is to be expected. There is certainly an evil force.
Right. Ephesians 6, we got to put on the full armor of God. That's right.
Amen.
Yeah, and here's one saying that Donald Trump is working for God.
About Trump that you love so much?
Number one, he's a godly man. He's working for God, for darn sure. Number two, he really cares about us. He cares about us. He cares about what happens to us. He cares about our country. He didn't come in there because he wanted the money. He's got money. He is coming there because he is actually working for God, and he wants to help us, and he wants to get us to he wants to make America great again. And I it's true, but I think he's going to make it even greater, because I don't think, no matter what they try to do to stop him, he's going to come back, because he's working for God and God's on his side.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little part of me that feels sorry for this woman here. First of all, she says that he's not in it for the money. Well, no president's in for the money, because it doesn't pay a whole bunch, unless you are Donald Trump, because there was a report that he made $1.7 billion while he was president, which is illegal. You're not supposed to make money while you're president off your businesses. But this poor lady thinks that God has sent a convicted felon and liable rapist to save our country, and what they're saving our country from, I'm not really sure. There's one last voter that I want to play here. It's not really a religious clip, but these people, these are people who are voting, and this is what concerns me. And again, I don't mind. I want anybody to vote based on what they feel is best for them and their family. What I'd like to hear, and again, it's not up to me whether or not whether or not it's true, whether it's not true, whether I like it, whether I don't like it, but just as an American, and if I were to talk to anybody about why they're voting, and they talk to me about why I'm voting, and we have discussion about it, I'd like to hear some coherent and some honest and true reasons as to why you're voting. But this lady has bought into one of the kookiest, craziest, and non-provable stories that has happened in our schools, and this woman's going to be voting.
Protect them at school. Everybody's against you. These kids are terrified. They have more put into litter boxes in the bathrooms and everything else, instead of teaching our kids. We have no future without our children, and we need to protect them.
I don't know what it is with the over-the-top pet obsessions with these people, where Haitian immigrants who are here legally are now all of a sudden eating pets because Kamala Harris let them in. None of that is true. And they're still rolling with the story that schools have litter boxes in their classes and in their bathrooms because kids now want to identify as cats. There have been absolutely zero provable stories on that, but it comes out. And not only are just the underground people saying it, but people like Joe Rogan is on his show claiming that that happened until he had to backtrack it. And the way he did it, he was saying that he had a friend whose wife was a teacher and said it was in her classroom. And it turned out that that just was not true. So now you got people going around and saying insane, crazy conspiracy thing. Conspiracy theorists used to be, they were kind of the people that you would see on the subway in New York, and you distance yourself from them and go, oh boy, just look down, don't look them in the eye, just be quiet, don't engage, stay away, get to your stop, get the fuck off the subway. But no, now these people are mainstream. Not only are they mainstream, they're running for president. They are already in Congress. They are traveling with the president. Laura Loomer is one of the 9/11 conspiracy theorists. She didn't believe that that happened, like Baby Juggernaut says. Conspiracy theorist. You know, I don't know, man. It's just, this is getting really out of control. Scary it has become, but I do think at this point, I really do, and I'm not sure in 7 weeks this is going to change, but America's exhausted. We're just done with this. And, you know, it's going to come down to either what I believe, and what I'm saying here doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but this is what I believe, is that true patriots are going to look at Donald Trump and JD Vance and their rhetoric and what they say and the people that they hang around and go, no way. There's absolutely no way. Not only am I not voting for you, but I am going to vote for Kamala Harris to make sure you don't go in. Am I agreeing with everything Kamala Harris and Tim Walz says? Nope. Do I like their policies? I don't. Would I ever vote Democrat? Nope. I never would. But guess what? I want my old party back. I want a real Republican Party. So I'm going to do my patriotic duty. And I am going to make sure I do everything that this administration comes nowhere near me, comes nowhere near my wife, my daughter, my mother, my sons, my friends, my family, anybody, because this is beyond outrageous. What we are doing is we are voting for people who are buying into and spreading conspiracy theories to scare people who just don't know any better. And that, to me, is egregious. Then you're also going to have the people who are going to say, I ain't voting for Kamala Harris, but I'm sure shit ain't voting for that guy. I'll take those guys too. And women, whoever it is, if you're not on board with this nonsense, because that's what it is. It's just pure nonsense. If you're not on board with that, I'm going to give you a half Patriot star. Now, you may not give a fuck about my stars, and I don't blame you, because you get nothing out of it, but it's just, you're here watching, I'm here talking. This is what I'm saying. So, but I don't know. What do you guys think? What is what I'm saying incorrect? Is there anything that I'm saying that resonates with you? Is there anything that I'm saying that you disagree with or you don't agree with? Put it in the comments, on the show. You can email me at runshousepodcast@gmail.com. Give me your opinions there. Dennis Hale says tampon Trump and tampon Vance. Yeah, I mean, they wear them on their ears, I guess, right? Because the whole thing about the tampons on the ears. That was something that we saw at the RNC. But anyway, please, if you guys have any comments, I do get a lot of comments on the show, usually after the show is over. I can go back and I'll always look at a lot of the comments. I will say a good 80% of them hate me, and they hate everything I say, and they're not very cordial, and they're very angry. And I laugh at every single one of them. Doesn't bother me in the absolute least. I just, at this point, it's all the same. It's literally almost every comment's the same, but every once in a while, I'll get people like Jesse who will come in. I do get a couple other people who, they're angry at me, but they'll still engage in conversation. And I have no problem engaging in conversation, especially with anybody that is cordial and has real concerns, maybe about Kamala Harris or Tim Walz or Democrats in general. If you have true concerns, I'm fine. I'll listen to it. But, we've turned this whole political landscape into this nasty, awful, terrible rhetoric. And yeah, you're going to hear me curse. You're going to hear me call names. You're going to see me do it on the comments. But, a lot of it has to do with in response to what I'm hearing. And that's not letting me off the hook. I'm not saying that I'm in the right, but I'm just explaining to myself that, if you get caught up in this, and it is a sad thing, and I'd rather not get caught up in this. I'd rather have cordial, intellectual conversations. But the problem is that I'm not having conversations with somebody who's telling me pets and dogs and cats are being eaten by Haitians in Ohio, when every single resident that lives there that's on TV or any representatives of that particular town comes out and says, this is absolutely not happening. And in fact, the Haitian population that we have in this town, we love them, and we have absolutely no issues with them whatsoever. So, if those are the kinds of conversations you think I'm going to engage in seriously, then you're seriously out of your mind, because that's just not happening. But finally, before we wrap up here, Chase. Remember when Kamala didn't even make it to Iowa because nobody liked her, and she only got the VP because Biden said he wanted a black lady. Nice candidate. So, all right, we can address that. We'll start with the first one, is that she didn't make it to Iowa. Okay, so she wasn't successful in her first presidential run. That has happened before. There have been numerous people who have run for president numerous times. In fact, Joe Biden ran for president 3 times. Failed the first time, dropped out early, failed the second time. Third time was a charm. And again, I don't give a fuck what any of you people think. Joe Biden will go down as one of the greatest presidents that we have ever had. And forget about me. Don't listen to me. I am saying what I truly think is going to happen, but you are going to see that presidential historians are going to look back on his presidency and say it is one of the best presidencies that we've ever had. He'll be a top 15 president for a very, very, very long time, possibly top 10. So, but let's go back to your other point here, and that she was only VP because Biden said that he wanted a black lady. So Biden did say that when he was going to appoint a vice presidential nominee, that he was going to pick a woman of color. And the reason why he did that is because he felt that it was time to do that, because for every single presidency in the history of our country, had there never been a black woman that was appointed as the vice presidential candidate. So he believed that it was time to do so. And then when he had a large amount of choices to make, he made one in Kamala Harris, who turned out to be an incredibly good choice, because she's going to eventually be the president of the United States. So finally, Biden said, okay, so we already went over that one. Wasn't successful in a primary, big difference. But what are you talking about? Wasn't it successful in the primary? What, her first time? I mean, we could go over this one more time, because I do want to go, and I'm sure everybody's kind of bored with this. But Brian, get your let's get this. I want to make sure I get this right. Brian, get your testosterone levels checked. By the way, I did, and they're off the charts. So even at 53 years old, I got to admit, I'm pretty fucking proud of that. You're an embarrassment to everyone who loves you. Well, I appreciate your comment, and maybe that is the case. I don't know. They haven't told me that. I feel like the people that say they love me. I don't know. I feel pretty good about my relationship with that. But if there's something that they're not telling me, then, maybe at some point we'll have that conversation, or maybe they'll just keep fooling me. I have no idea. But, back to Kamala Harris, whether or not that she was a legitimate candidate. She is a legitimate candidate. Joe Biden stepped down, did something that really a lot of people would not have done, looked at the numbers, looked at what people were telling him, and he said reluctantly, okay, I need to do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to announce that I'm stepping down, and that I am going to announce who I prefer to be the nominee for president of the United States, and that is Kamala Harris. From that point on, because we still had the convention, and you're not the official nominee until the convention comes along. So from that point on, any person in this country could have said, I want to run against Kamala Harris. And guess what happened? Every single person in this country decided, you know what? We're good. Every single person that could have run, they said, we are good with Kamala Harris as our nominee. And you know what else? Here's one thing, Chases, or whatever the fuck your name is. Just because she's the Democratic nominee at this point doesn't mean that I have to vote for her. I don't have to vote for her because her name is associated with the Democrat. I could still vote for whoever I want. So if I hated her that badly, I could have said, nope, I'm sitting home. I'm not voting for her. But as you can see with my t-shirt, I am extremely excited to vote for her. So is a ton of Americans, and your stupid ass is going to find that out in November, that she was the right choice, and she's going to beat down the fucking douchebag that you bow down to like a loser. So get yourself prepared and, put on your little militia costumes, because November's coming, and so is the end of MAGA, and so is the end of Donald Trump. And, that's all I got to say about that. But anyway, I do appreciate everybody watching. You can tune in to us again on next Tuesday. We'll be live. I think I'm going to probably do another show on Thursday Night Live. I'm going to try to do a couple shows during the week. So I will put that on YouTube, or if anybody has subscribed, and fuck, I keep forgetting to say this, please subscribe, whether you liked it or not, just like it. Who gives a shit? And subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. It'll let you know that we're coming on different days other than Tuesday nights at on 8 o'clock. Also, the Quest Show. You could check out Lana Quest's show on Thursday night, generally live. She goes on Thursday nights, and if she does, it's Thursday nights live. Sometimes she goes on different nights. She has a very busy schedule. As you could tell tonight that she had to leave me tonight, but check her out, the Quest Show. As you see, my dog is walking behind me. Nobody in my neighborhood is eating my pets. But anyway, check her show out. Come back and see us on Thursday of next week. I appreciate everybody watching. Your comments, if you have any additional comments, comment below on the video, or you can email me at runshousepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, everybody, again for watching, and have a great night.